So back in 2017, I was living a totally different life. I was a chartered accountant living in Brighton. Brighton's an amazing city. It's like vibrant and interesting and cultural and full of many things to do, restaurants and theatres and pubs and everything you could possibly want is there. I wasn't making the most of it because I was so busy working in my business, working long hours. I'd been running my accountancy business for 8 years with my business partner, and there's a point where I got quite sick. I don't think I'd realised how stressful it was working all these hours, and then when you finish working you just want to go to the pub and enjoy life with your friends and make the most of your free time. So you do end up in this burning the candle at both ends scenario, and I don't think I realised how stressed I was with everything until I got diagnosed with IBS. So I started having these really, really terrible bouts of pain and digestive pain, almost like ending up in A&E, to be honest. And I knew that I needed to change something in my life and that I wanted to live a different life. It took me a while to get there, but in 2018 I sold everything. I sold the business, I packed up all my belongings and left Brighton, and I set off in a motorhome because I wanted to travel and I wanted to figure out where I wanted to be and what kind of life that I wanted to live, and I didn't know what that was. I just knew that I didn't want what I had anymore, and so off I went. And it was a really interesting journey of finding out things that I loved to do. So I rediscovered a love of hiking, partly because I like being outside, but I also like exploring and finding new things, and so I really enjoyed a lot of that. I'm a bit of a geek, and I really enjoyed visiting lots of medieval castles. I kind of really get, I don't know, I'm a bit of a history geek. I've been one since I was a child, so that came back as well. And then somewhere along the way I bought an old bike and started cycling, which I hadn't done since I was about 16, so I was very wobbly, but I enjoyed that. So it was this period of time where I just kind of reconnected with things that I used to love, and I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. On part of that journey I visited Pembrokeshire. I've been coming to Pembrokeshire on my holidays for probably close to 10 years, and there's always been something about the coast. I lived in Cornwall for 5 years, and I've always loved the sea and the coast, but I've always been terrified of the sea. Never thought of myself as a good swimmer. Found it cold, never wanted to get out of my depth, but always drawn to be near it. And so I arrived in Pembrokeshire in June 2019, and I haven't left yet. So I think that answers the where do I want to be. And the thing that really made that decision easy for me was meeting the Bluetits. Something that's really important to me is having people around me that I just get on with, and that they get me. Like, I get to be me without judgment, and I found that swimming with the Bluetits. And so I started going on these adventures where I was swimming in the sea, but I was never afraid because I knew that the people around me were looking out for me, and they knew that I wasn't a confident swimmer. And then before I know it, I'm swimming across the bay with a little orange floating tow bag with a cup of tea, that would have been bad, a flask of tea and a pack of biscuits, and sitting on a beach that you can't get to, in a little cove that you can't get to unless you swim there. And it was just magical. And having spent the summer going on these little adventures and dipping in the sea, I knew that I didn't want to leave here. And I actually felt like I'd found an instant group of friends, and despite Pembrokeshire being as far away from my family and friends as probably anywhere in the UK could be, I knew that it would be okay to be here because of that sense of community. So yeah, I moved to Pembrokeshire, and it wasn't long after that I started getting more involved with the running of the Bluetits. It was a growing organisation, and some of my skills as an accountant came in useful there. But some of the ways that I would say it's changed my life is I get to live this different kind of life, this life where I don't wake up and I've got a 9 to 5 and a long to-do list. Quite a lot of the time I try and organise my life around tide times and weather forecasts and when I can get in the sea and when everyone else is available. And I love those days where you go for a swim and you end up sitting around a fire on the beach after your swim, and you're still there 5 hours later as the sun's setting and it's getting dark, because you haven't run out of things to talk about yet and you're still having a laugh. I love having the space in my life to just be able to live like that. And all of my digestive problems disappeared. Like, changing my life and living my life differently has just totally changed that as well. Like, I don't get any of those problems anymore. And then the other big thing, and this one I didn't notice straight away, but I stopped being so critical of my body and the way that my body looks. And I don't know when it happened. I just realised that it has happened. And I've started a journal this year, and one of the questions in the journal, what to fill in, was I feel beautiful when. And my first answer was when I put on a swimming costume, and that is like not something I would ever have said. Like, with the Bluetits, I've been filmed to be on TV, I've constantly got pictures on Facebooks, I'm in photo shoots in a swimming costume, which would never have happened. So here I am, this is my new life. I live in Pembrokeshire, I have a sea view. My life is about swimming, and some of the work that I do is centred around my passion of swimming, and I just get to hang out with people that I have a lot of fun with all the time. So yeah, it's definitely changed my life.